Alright, welcome back to Work Stories with me, GCP. And in this episode we discuss something that happened this weekend actually, so it's really quite recent. But before I talk about any of that, let me just give a backdrop for those of you who want to get into the medical field or are planning to get into the medical field. You guys will come across a variety of different people that come in all different shapes, sizes, and forms, and also different personalities, especially personalities. Now this patient, just like my last patient that I discussed in the last episode of Work Stories, has dementia, and you know what? There is something different about her though than the other dementia patient. This patient was quite literally the opposite in personality because she was not combative, she was not aggressive, and she was actually quite nice. She had a sweet, innocent personality, and it was quite a story that I came across. Actually, I thought it was really quite funny. Hopefully you guys do too. So me and my coworker, we were done with all the other draws on the floor. We went into this room, and the patient is a difficult stick or a difficult draw, meaning we can't get blood from her easily because she has two swollen arms. So when a patient has swollen arms, obviously, as you can imagine, it's not going to be an easy thing to find their veins. So my coworker actually gets the first draw, or tries first, and as he goes into the patient's arm with a needle, she says quite innocently, "Please don't hurt Grandma." And we were just looking at each other in a puzzled look. By the way, you guys, this is an isolation room where we have to wear masks, a gown, and gloves, so we couldn't really see each other's expressions that much, but we could read each other's faces and our eyes, because we were kind of grinning when she said that. We were like, wait, what? We were puzzled at the same time, but grinning because it was just so funny, because everybody else, normal people, just say ouch or don't hurt me or don't poke me or something like that. These just happen as a norm. But you know, a patient with dementia isn't in their right state of mind all the time. So she said, "Please don't hurt Grandma," which was pretty freaking hilarious. I thought it was really funny, and so did my coworker, and we just kind of laughed it off. Now, when he failed to get some blood from the patient, I went in to try for a second time, right? Or I tried for my first time, but it was the second time that she was being poked for blood. But I go in, and this was the funniest thing that I have ever heard from any patient ever since I've worked there for almost 2 years now. As I went in with my needle, instead of saying ouch or screaming, she had the most angelic tone that came out of her mouth. Basically, when I went in with my needle into her arm, this is what it sounded like. Instead of a scream, it was a beautiful tone that came out of her mouth. I was honestly taken back by it. I was quite surprised. So was my coworker. As you can imagine, anyone would be surprised. And I just thought to myself, wow, what was that? But since it was a very nice voice and very nice tone, I told her myself, wow, you have a very beautiful voice. That was beautiful. And she just innocently says, why, thank you. And that was that. I wasn't able to get the blood though, however, and we eventually came back after a couple of hours and tried again, and we were finally able to get some blood. But that whole incident, it was just so funny. It's so weird and bizarre. Like, who who does that? But I just thought, you know, to share that with you guys. I thought it was just so funny. Honestly, when things like that happen, it's okay to laugh. A lot of times when you're working in the hospital, you come across people who are strict, who are always frowning, or who are always, you know, not very light-hearted, you know, because it might be a norm, because, or might be understood because people are sick in the hospital, obviously, and you might be depressed upon seeing them. But when stuff like that happens, where it's a lighthearted situation and it's a funny situation, it's okay to be joking around and laughing, as long as you're respectful, which we were. We were still respectful, but at the same time, it was a funny situation, so we couldn't help but kind of snicker and laugh with each other at the event that just took place. And a lot of times people in the healthcare field, you're going to come across nurses and doctors and other healthcare professionals that are not going to be this way. They're always going to be serious and uptight and strict and all of that. But it's okay to ease up when these situations arise or when these situations happen, and just take them as they do.
As they come.
Laugh when it's appropriate and don't laugh when it's not. But in this certain situation, it was appropriate to laugh because it was funny, and we were just kind of lighthearted with the patient and being respectful and just, having a good time, just taking in what just happened. And honestly, I think that is a fun time when something like that happens. You just kind of joke around with the patient, and it makes them feel better. Honestly, it does. It makes them feel less nervous, because already it's nervous being in the hospital as a patient because you don't know all the stuff that's going on in the background. But I just thought to share that funny little story with you guys. Hopefully you enjoyed it, and hopefully you enjoyed this gameplay as well in the background, because I did pretty dang well, and so did some of my subscribers. So a big props to them who were playing with me this game. You guys know who you are. And that is it for today, guys. Hopefully you enjoyed. Again, this is OGCP Da Silva, and I'm signing off.